Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Emmanuel and this is FPL for Africa. Okay, so this is my first official FPL video since the link had been open. Like I mentioned in my previous Euro videos, I've created a draft a while ago, like a long while back, but I just wanted the Euros to be over before I could create and focus mainly on the FPL. And I had actually made previous videos, but I noticed that I had to change my team because the kind of players I wanted to get were not there at that point in time. So I had to switch some things up, of which I'll be showing you in this video. Now, this is my initial draft, my first team draft, and I'll be going over every player and their fixtures and my ideas on them for now. Also, my cheap strategies have not been decided as yet, though that I think that can be influenced by there is still COVID, obviously, maybe some injuries or stuff like that. But for now, I don't really have a plan on when I want to use a particular chip, even after looking at the fixtures and stuff like that. But the strategy I'll be using this time around is going with a playing bench, but a cheap playing bench. Apart from the goalkeeper, as you can see, Ben Foster is the second choice at Norwich. But then Watford, sorry, I said Norwich. His second choice at Watford. But in order to save, I don't know, I can show you my money in the bank, which is 0.00. Yeah, that's about zero in the bank. So I've used up all the 100 million. So I can't pick a goalkeeper that's like 4.5 because that would just destabilize my entire team. I have to start making changes, and I know it took me to get down to this point. So like I said, my bench is going to be full of plain cheap options. I wouldn't be looking at, I think towards the end of last season, because of the COVID and everything, we had to have players who could play, because you could just have a game cancelled and stuff like that. So you have to play your bench players and take some unnecessary hits just to match up an 11. So for now, since everything is stable now, I think the stadiums can be having full capacity as well with no stadium limits. So we can see that the world is slowly returning back to normal. And that's the reason for the defense. Well, let me now switch over to the team and share my ideas as to why I think I'm going with these certain players. Now, for the goalkeepers part, I'll be going with Robert Sanchez, who I was quite surprised didn't play in any games for Spain in the Euros, but that's a story for another day. If I look at that, I'm going with a keeper who I feel has longevity. He can stay longer in my team for a while, because I don't want to be having to make goalkeeper transfers, because the most owned goalkeeper at this point in time is Martinez. But if you look at his fixtures, I think after the third game, you would be forced into a change for him, and I wouldn't want that. So that's how I'll be going with Sanchez as my starting goalkeeper. He has a Burnley first, Watford, Everton. I can always play him here. Brentford, like for the first 8 or 11 fixtures, I'm stretching to here. Of course, Man City and Liverpool are quite tough. But for the first 8 fixtures, I can start him and hope for a clean sheet at least. And maybe after then, I can be looking at using my wild card or something, but that's not in the works as of now. So he starts as my goalkeeper. Arnold, I feel it's a no-brainer as well. Last season, maybe started off a bit confused. I don't know what was going on with him, but eventually he picked up and he's in my team. I could also go with Robertson, but I just feel I'll be going with Arnold differently, because I see him as someone who has something to prove. And we all know how he hadn't been called up for some certain games for the English national team. And when he eventually got picked for the Euros, he picked up an injury. So I think he's going to play well this season to show that he needs to be the starting right back ahead of the World Cup in December of next year. So he has Norwich first as the first game, Burnley as the next game, then Chelsea, Leeds, Palace, Brentford. Fairly good fixtures. Then he has City, Watford, and around this, I think I'm beginning to notice something. From game week 9, there may be a point of using a wild card, but then he still has a few good fixtures. Let's be honest. He has multiple good fixtures, so he's in the team. Sufal as well. I could also go Cresswell, but for the sake of my money, I have to go with Sufal. And it's not like he's a bad option, actually. He had a very good Euros, very good Euros. I think he had about 1 or 2 assists, I can't really remember. But he played very, very well. And he starts the season with Newcastle, Leicester, Palace, Southampton before they start getting tougher with Man U and Leeds. Then they have Brighton and all this. So he's in my team. Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw, what's there to say about him again? One of the best defenders in the league, if not the best left back. Though some people might say Robertson is still good and all that, but I still think Shaw is like the best left back in the league currently. And he starts off with Leeds, which is not an easy opponent for a clean sheet. But the way Shaw is so attacking and the way Leeds love to attack, I could see some space there for him to just go in and maybe give an assist or even a goal, because he can do something like that. Southampton, I'm confused why Southampton has a difficulty rating of 2, but okay. Wolves, really? Okay. Newcastle, West Ham, Villa, yeah, and maybe around this point in time, I can be looking to take him off. Still around that game week 8, 9. I think I'm beginning to see when I can use my wildcard. Wow, you can just see these features. He has from 15 down. That might be a good time to use wildcard between game week 9 and yeah. That's a good time. Though, like I said, I've not taken any decision on that yet. And Rafinha, this guy came in with a bargain price. He's being priced at 6.5 million, and that's very criminal. Of course, he has his first game against United, as against Luke Shaw, which is a conflict of interest, but still, he has a game against Man United and Everton. I wonder why they gave Everton as a fixture difficulty rating of 4 against Leeds. I think that game is going to be very, will I say, crazy on both ends. Both teams are going to try to attack each other, but 4, that's crazy. Then he has Burnley, Liverpool, then sweet fixtures up till game week 10. He has Newcastle, West Ham, Watford, Southampton, Wolves, Norwich. Fantastic fixtures, if I may add. Salah, the Egyptian king. I was confused when he wanted to go with the Egyptian national team to the Olympics, but thankfully their team news is out. I mean, their squad is out, sorry, and he's not in that. So he obviously starts game week 1 and it's against Norwich. I remember one of the reasons I finished in the top 2K last season was because of my initial captain. I went to Salah as my captain over Aubameyang, and I think everybody had that split decision between Salah against Leeds or Aubameyang against Fulham. And everyone looked like, okay, the Fulham defense was quite easier to penetrate than the Leeds defense and all that. But eventually, Salah gave about 20 points, and that was what just kickstarted it. As my captain, he gave about 40 points. So that's what started off I think I got almost 90 points, about 90 points in the first week of last season. So he has Norwich, which starts as the captain. He would likely be my captain against Burnley. Then Chelsea, Leeds, Palace, Brentford. Yeah, Salah is in my team. Okay, so now Fernandes with the new United cloth that looks more like Dream League Soccer. I don't know if anyone plays that game, Dream League Soccer. That's what the new jersey design looks like. Okay, so Fernandes starts off with Leeds, then Southampton, of course, the same fixtures is sure, Wolves, West Ham, and when Salah has Chelsea in game week 3, I could be looking to captain Fernandes in that game week 3 against Wolves, and it's an away fixture. We all know how good Fernandes is when he's away. And after that, he has Newcastle, West Ham, Aston Villa. So, and around here, he has tougher fixtures. But there's some players I feel are, will I say, bigger than fixtures, like Fernandes. In games like this against Everton, Leicester, I see him doing well. It's only against the tough teams that maybe some people might be like he hasn't really been performing or delivering against those big teams. Of course, he can score a penalty, so that's none of my business. Jota. Now, the problem with Jota is he may not start. That's his problem. He has the same fixtures as Salah. Fantastic fixtures, but he may not start. So that position is actually under review. I'll be looking to move on Jota to another player depending on what we hear towards that period. Or just switch him. I can either downgrade him and maybe upgrade one of my strikers, or just downgrade him and keep the money in the bank for another transfer or something like that, or even upgrade the goalkeeper before that time. But for now, Jota remains my team because if he starts, the fixtures are quite good enough for him to just give off some certain amount of points, some good points, if I might add. Then my striking positions, I'll be going with, first of all, my formation for now is like 4-3-3. 3-4-3, what am I saying? Sorry, 3-4-3 actually. And Antonio is one of my strikers. This spot is being tossed along Antonio and Watkins, but I'll be sticking with Antonio for now because he has more, will I say, more easier fixtures than Watkins. Watkins just has 3 good fixtures and then it all goes south from there. But for Antonio, the fixtures are still quite good for a certain number of time. I think till that game week 9, 10, thereabout. So he starts off with Newcastle, then Leicester, Palace, Southampton. All games he can do something. Even against United, he could do something against them. So he starts in my team. Calvert-Lewin, Everton have one of the best fixtures or best set of fixtures to start the season. Southampton, Leeds, Brighton, Burnley, Villa, Norwich. And I was actually looking to start with Lucas Digne as my defenders ahead of Shaw, but I instead decided to go with Shaw because doing that mean if I wanted to have him over Fofana or Navarro, who is a 4.0 Watford defender, I would have to downgrade one of my outfield players, and I wouldn't want to do that because I'm happy with my picks. Or maybe if I was to take away Jota, then I could bring in Digne instead of Jota. If I notice maybe he's not likely to start, or I see the first game and he doesn't do as much as I expect, I could just easily move him on to maybe Sarr from Watford, or even Harrison from Leeds, or Buemo, the other guy in Brentford, sorry, or even Trossard. I know Brighton have like 2 or 3 good fixtures. Let me confirm that because, of course, I'm going into Brighton's goalkeeper. Yeah, Brighton have a few good fixtures, so I could also go with Trossard, anyone I feel like, and just get enough money to transfer maybe Fofana down to Lucas Digne. Well, for now, the only Everton player in my team will be Calvert-Lewin. And for Ivan Toney, I know we all like to say we don't want to get players who have not been tested in the league first, but 31 goals in the championship. I think I like my chances with that. So I'll be keeping him in my team. Of course, it starts off with Arsenal, who, let's face it, Arsenal are not really good. They are not really good, and that's just the truth. Although they are not being distracted by European competitions this time, only the domestic competition. So let's see how that serves them. Then they have Palace next, Villa, Brighton, Wolves, before it gets a bit tougher, and maybe around them who're looking to moving on, depending on the way he performs, because there's a way he can be on a hot streak and you can't just move him regardless of who he faces, either Liverpool or West Ham or Chelsea or anyone. You could just leave him in the team even on those games, but for now he stays in my team. And of course, I spoke about the bench earlier, so that's it. That's my initial draft. That's my initial draft for the first or game week 1, which is subject to change actually. And of course, subsequently, I'll be doing more and more videos regarding this. And just stay tuned to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel, and like the video if you enjoy our content. I forgot to mention, I got to finish in the top 2.2k or something in the Euros championship, in Euros fantasy games, and that was quite a nice ranking. That was quite a nice score. So let's be hoping for something like that in the FPL this season. I think if I was to give myself an initial rank to target, that would be top 10k. Just looking to break into the top 10k, and anything ahead of that is quite extra. So the top 10k, that's target for now. And I know the team will be looking a bit template as of now, because Sanchez, Arnold, Shaw, Salah, Fernandez, Calvert-Lewin, and maybe Antonio are all players who are being heavily owned. Maybe the differentials in my team might be Jota, Rafinha. I think Tony is also heavily owned. So all these other players, maybe Jota, Rafinha, are quite differentials for me. And of course, the bench players, though Fofana is also one who is heavily owned. The bench players, like I said, I want plain bench players who are very cheap, but they can guarantee me 2 points if they have to come off the bench. And anything above that is an extra. Okay, so thank you for watching the video. Thank you so much, and please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.